Hello everyone, it's Mark from This Is The Music and welcome back to another episode of the This Is The Music Meets Podcast, the podcast where I dive deep into the stories behind the rising bands shaping the indie scene. Before we get started, please hit the like button, subscribe and leave a comment. It really will help the podcast grow, but more importantly, support the bands and artists that I feature. On today's episode, I'm absolutely delighted to be joined by a band who are undoubtedly one of the finest emerging rock and roll bands around today. They've got over 3.9 million Spotify streams. This band are back with a bang with the release of their first two singles in 15 months. They've got an EP on the way as well and a UK tour as well, which is well on the way to be selling out. So it gives me great pleasure to welcome Aiden and Jacko to the This Is The Music Meets podcast, who obviously are both from the excellent band, The Crooks. Fellas, thanks very much for coming on today. How are you both doing?
Well, good mate. Excited to get the ball rolling with this new music, as you say.
Yeah, good man. Feeling real good.
Brilliant. Well, look, it's both to have you both here, and it's lots and lots of things to talk about in relation to the Crooks, with all the exciting things that have happened and that are coming up as well. But kind of like before we get started, I know we were just sort of talking a little bit off before we started the episode, but have you managed to catch much of the World Cup?
Well, yeah, I've seen all the England games so far. I've not really watched that much of it. Otherwise, they're all a bit strange timings and whatnot. And I don't know what we're going to do about tonight, to be honest. Obviously, I'm sure
Yeah.
behind the scenes, this is recorded on Sunday when England play against Mexico. So, yeah, we'll see what happens later tonight, eh?
Yeah, definitely. And Aidan, what have you thought of England so far? Is this going to be the year it's going to come home finally?
I've caught all the games. I think yeah, it's been a bit mixed really. I think the last game that I watched, uh it just felt so tense and I was like, oh my gosh. When it came to half time and they put the tagline across the bottom saying we haven't won since we conceded in 1966, I was like, right, that's a bit of a kick in the teeth, isn't it? But we proved them wrong. So yeah, it's coming home. I think that's it.
Yeah, that's it. Definitely. Yeah. Fingers crossed that it does. And yeah, I'm not sure myself what I'm going to do this evening or in the early hours of the morning even about watching it. But I'll worry about that later on. But more importantly, let's get into the music because that's obviously what we're all here for today. The most recent single, Madness, was the Crooks' first release in about 15 months in terms of new music. Why did it feel like now that was the right time? And Jack, I'll come to you on this one first. Why did it feel that now was the right time to sort of, get back into the game, so to speak?
To be quite honest with you, we'd have had it out a lot sooner if it was up to us. We've signed a record deal with Run On Records, which we're massively appreciative for their support, but these things take time. There's contracts back and forth, and then there's booking into studios and mixing times, mastering times. It's all it's a process. And those talks started last summer, which obviously were only 3 or 4 months after we released Carry On. But for it to come to fruition, we recorded in February this year. And yeah, the EP drops in August. So we all love music and we're all about putting music out and doing gigs. And if it were up to us, it'd be like every week we'd put new music out, but that's just not how it works.
Yeah, no, definitely. And sort of Aidan, did you feel maybe like any added pressure, like coming back with a new song after, a little while away? Because I guess in this day and age of streaming, it's almost like, oh, the songs come out and then next week or the next day I've forgotten about that and I'm listening to something else. So is there, more pressure in terms of, people, are they going to listen to it? Are they going to like it as well?
Yeah. I think we know that we had to come back with a bang. So we kind of had a bit of a blackout on social media, keep people waiting, and then put out a few teasers. We've been massively hard at work, like behind the scenes. So I think we're doing everything we can to make it work. There's definitely a bit of pressure there. Yeah, I think it's doing well so far. So I'm quite happy with that still.
Yeah, well, I think that when I looked yesterday, in fact, or Saturday, by the time this comes out, I think it's well over 10,000 streams already in that time. So obviously, it's had a really good response. So with that, do you with each release, do you ever, as a band, do you set yourself like an expectation that we've got to reach this many streams at this point, or is it just like, well, what happens happens? How does it work for the Crooks?
I wouldn't say we put targets on it in that sense. We want it to do as well as it can. I think it feels a bit different this time round because we had Madness come out, and then only 6 weeks later there's another single and the EP released in a month's time. So it feels like a project rather than just this one single, and we keep an eye on those streams. So I think we'll probably look back at it at Christmas and decide whether or not we feel it was a success or not, which I'm sure it will be.
Yeah, that seemed crazy to even think of the word Christmas in this sort of heat wave that we're
Yeah.
that we're going through. But Jack, obviously, you just mentioned there, by the time this episode comes out, that you should have your new single out next week. It's going to be called Always. From the clips that I've heard and everything, it sounds like it's another top class song that you've got coming. Can you just sort of give us a little bit of insight into that track?
It actually came late. It wasn't even finished when we went into the studio, to be honest, but it came to fruition only a couple of weeks before the studio time in February. It's different to the others in terms of it's actually a 6/6 timing, which is it feels a bit like a waltz, but obviously with that rock and roll punch. So it's a little bit different, but it's still got this massive guitar riff, big chorus. It's still rock and roll music, but it felt good to put two different singles out that didn't sound the same. You can tell it's us obviously, but it's got something different about it.
Yeah, definitely. And Aiden, in terms of like the build up to the release and obviously today, from what I've seen, it looks like it's been absolutely fantastic. How do you, as a band, sort of navigate the difficulties of social media when it comes to like new releases or announcing the gigs, but particularly onto the new single Always?
Yeah, I think for us, it's a bit of a team effort, really. We've got separate chats in WhatsApp, just firing off all the time about what we're going to do next, what we're posting today, and everything like that. I think it does feel like a team effort. We've got all our different roles in that, and I think, especially from the label, they've sort of given us the advice, just be a self-starter, do it yourself, um, make it happen, and they just give you that push to go forward. And I feel like we're just getting a lot of good energy from everyone at the moment. So although it's hard work, yeah, it pays off. So
Yeah, yeah. And do you
I'm
like?
feeling I'm feeling the pain of doing it every day at the moment. It's a new rhythm, It's something you've got to get used to.
Yeah, no, it's obviously, it's hard enough as it is, for bands in terms of, having to write and record and obviously just release the song as it is, but then to obviously have to do the sort of the social media side of things as well is obviously almost like another job essentially for you. So how are you as a band or maybe like as individuals here? Do you enjoy or I'm not sure if that's the right word, but do you enjoy doing the social media side of things, or is it challenging? How do you find it?
I think it's challenging really because we're slightly older than the TikTok generation. Um, we're not really the type to be dancing about in High Street to get clicks or whatever. We
Bit
don't.
sketchy. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't make this music for that reason. We do it because we love music and we hope that the people hear it love it as much as we do. But the reality is that the world is what it is, and we have to delve into that side of things a bit. But I think it's important to just be yourself and be organic. Um, don't force any of this algorithmic stuff. If your music's good enough, it will just get to the top sort of thing.
Yeah, no, I agree with that totally. the amount of times that I see bands and it's not being disrespectful to anybody in case that they do this, but cooking with X, I'm cooking a pasta dinner. Come and watch me. Yeah, that's not for me. I'm with you definitely on that. That it should be, what's your music like? Is it good enough? Then yeah, people are obviously going to come out there and listen to it 100%.
Yeah, and like you say, it's no disrespect to anyone else. I think it's somewhat of a generational thing. It seems to be the trend that rather than playing a game nowadays, you watch someone else play a game or something along those lines. It's like it's what's it called? It's like the fashion of the younger people. It's how it is. But we'll do what we do, and I'm sure, like I say, the music will be good enough to get through it, regardless of what dance we do on TikTok or whatever.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to see that.
Just space.
Brilliant. So obviously there is today on Thursday, hopefully this episode is going to be coming out. It's obviously like a double announcement essentially for the Crooks, because the new single obviously Always is coming out, but you also announced that you've got a mini EP coming out. It's called Hypercell. I think it's due to be released in August time. How excited are you for people to hear sort of, such a big body of work as well?
Well, ever since we came back and started releasing and performing again a couple of years ago, all the fans seem to be online calling for the album or calling for a long form piece of music. And obviously we've wanted to get it done. But in the background, we've been having on and off talks with labels and whatnot. So we essentially were just like stepping stone, single at a time, because we didn't want to go and record all this music then and it not get the backing that it deserved, really. I really enjoyed the fact that when we released Madness last month, all those same shouts on socials were there, and we knew all this was, in the back pocket, ready to go. It's been hard to bite my tongue and not shout about it already, but I think now Always comes out on Thursday with the EP announcement. I think, people can get behind it and realise, there's 7 tracks on this EP. It's call it an extended EP. It's not quite an album. So there's a good chunk of music on it. And I'm sure we'll be performing all of those at the live shows later this year. So it's not just 1 or 2 new singles. We're actually back with a bang now. So happy about that.
Yeah,
I can't
definitely.
wait. I can't wait personally. It's one of those things where you just play it every now and then. You play it once, forget about it for 2 weeks, come back to it, and we keep messaging saying, I can't wait to just release this into the world, like get it out there already. It's been going on like that for months. So.
And I believe, I think might have been you, Jacko. I think you mentioned earlier that the EP was recorded round about sort of February time. Is that, first of all, is if I got that correct? But did you have all 7 songs like ready to go in the studio, or did you find that you were, everyone in the band was coming up with new songs that maybe got included on this EP?
So yeah, it was recorded in February. All 7 of the tracks that we recorded, we went in to record those songs. There's no new music that we just came up with in the studio. But what I will say is, how it works for us especially is we go to the studio with, let's say, 80% of a song, and who we work with as a producer puts those little cherries on the cake, and just this little tiny drum beat difference, or marrying the bass with the drums a little better, or even for Madness, for instance, we demoed that a year ago, and the first verse was actually an octave lower, and it was a bit more of a spooky vibe to start with, and then it came into what it is. And it was a decision in the studio where we just said, you know what, let's just bang it out from start, just have 3 minutes of absolute chaos. So there's little things like that change, but we go in with a very good idea on what we're going to come out with.
Yeah, sure. And Aiden, with the recording of the EP, believe that you headed up to Glasgow to work with Chris Marshall. What made him the right producer for this upcoming release?
I think, well, firstly for me, it was a massive experience in that sort of been in studios, done stuff for myself, but never to that extent with such a professional guy as well. He's got that mix that's like a wall of sound, but pulling out all of the right instruments at the right time. And what we were going for, I think we just wanted that massive sound, like in your face. It feels like, taking some of the stuff we've done before, but giving it a new spin, taking a new step. And it felt amazing recording it. Don't know about you, Jack.
I think a big reason why we went up to Chris was his back catalogue of music that he's mixed and produced on. I mean, he's done both of Jerry Cinnamon's album, which are both obviously upbeat and poppy. He recorded the Bracknell's last album, which is a big favourite of mine. Today's music, that's probably the best mixed album that I've heard. So, especially because the genres are quite similar. We like that big guitar sounding, 90s vibe. It made perfect sense. The beauty of it is that when we got there, not only was he professional and really good at his job, but he's a proper sound geezer as well. We had a really good couple of weeks.
Got with him so well, didn't we?
Yeah.
We've both got those similar, I think we sort of like similar backgrounds, and we just kind of like built off of that. The banter was incredible, in a word.
and I believe that you actually recorded the EP kind of like live, so that it almost sounded as if like what the Crooks sound when you do play, like on, when you're up on stage. So how, obviously, normally for maybe for those that don't know, and apologies if anyone's listening to this and they know how it works. Generally, obviously, each instrument is recorded and then everything's layered on over the top of it. So how different was having to record it live for you compared to those previous sessions? And do you think that maybe in the future it might be something that you revisit, as I say, in the future?
We've recorded live in the past, to be fair. I think I Wonder was recorded live, and Better Days, that was in the same session. I think the beauty of it is that the majority of our back catalogue, we always look back on it and say, it doesn't sound like us necessarily. It's not got that grit. That, without blowing my own trumpet, whenever we do gigs, people come up and say to us after, like, Jesus, you sound better live than you do on these records. And it's always been one of those things that obviously it's a compliment, but we want the masses to hear us at our best. So getting the live energy. So essentially how it works is we'll all record it live in a studio together, but then we're still adding layers. Like any live recording that you hear, or a live album, should I say, it's always the same, where there's the five instruments usually stay on the track, but there's still layers. They still have to pan things from left to right and blah, blah, blah. So we've got that live energy, but we've still got the high production as well. So it's a really good blend. It's a good mix.
Yeah, and how about you, Aiden? Did you enjoy the experience? The experience you obviously mentioned before about Chris and the banter and stuff. Was it quite an easy sort of process, to sort of fall into that sort of approach, that environment?
I think for me personally, on the first day we sort of did ghost tracks, didn't we? So we had something that felt like how the song would come out to play to when you're actually recording. And then it was maybe like the second or third day, something like that. Me and Connor, drummer, we recorded together. So we ended up doing all 7 songs in one day. I think Chris was just saying, yeah, you seem like well practiced. Like we got on like great, but it was he will push you in the studio, just saying like, you can do that a bit better. Come on. So you got those moments, and when you've been doing it for 8 hours as well, it's by the end I was just like smashing it out, just saying, yeah, let's get through this. But it comes through in the song. I think that energy when I've recorded together with the drummer, we were both like, keeping in time with each other and playing off the kick drum and everything like that. So it just felt really good.
Yeah, sure.
Ups and downs.
And sorry, Aidan, just sticking with you there as well. Is there kind of like a particular theme or maybe a feeling that sort of ties all 7 songs on the EP together?
I'd probably say for me, it just feels like a bit of like evolution sort of thing. Um, Hypercell can mean a few things to a lot of people. I'm sure if you ask someone else to give you a different definition, but to me, it just means like stepping into a new sort of sound almost, and that's what the tracks felt like. So we've still got that in your face rock and roll coming through sort of thing, but it felt like the next step.
Yeah, sure. Well, let's ask someone else, Jacko. Is, is there anything from you, in terms of that, sort of theme or maybe feeling that you're hoping people might get?
I think we treat it as an album. So although it's only a couple of songs short, but we treat it that way so that we're playing on all the same amps and instruments and whatever, and every song you can tell that we played that in that week. That's something we've always been determined to do. Like there's been situations in the past where we've had the money to go and do an album, but we haven't had the time, so we've had to do it in 2 or 3 days here and there, and we were never interested in doing it because it wouldn't feel like that one piece of music. I think the EP, should I say, Hypercell, there's probably like three or four really heavy hitter songs like Madness and Always. There's 1 or 2 middle of the road ballady types, and then there's one absolute crier at the end, which I've been so excited for people to hear. So it's a journey, I think we're desperate to not just be one of those bands that releases this like the same formula all the time. We want to prove that we've got a bit of something about us, that we can do different things, but it's all it's all rock and roll and ballads and whatever. But yeah, there's no techno tracks on there or anything, but it's a journey is what I'm trying to say. It's not 100-mile-an-hour all the way through.
A roller coaster.
Brilliant. No techno. Yeah, maybe there'll be like a remix song coming out at like a later date or something.
Well, you never know.
Christmas special. There you go. We've heard it here first.
I'll get the wig on and slave.
And TikTok videos, dancing and all sorts.
Well, that's a bit too far. We'll have none of
that. So as well as obviously the EP that we've been discussing, and obviously the release of 2 new singles as well, you also announced a 5-date tour, headline tour throughout September and October. The dates and the ticket links for that are going to be in the episode bio, so do please go and grab a ticket once you've got to the end of this episode. Aidan, I'll come to you first. How excited are you to be going back out on the road?
Can't wait. I think the venues that we've got this time are, like incredible. We just want to. For me, it's just that feeling of giving back to, when you play it and you get like a bit of adrenaline, but when you're watching someone as well, you get that feeling back, and I think that's just what I want to give people. So I can't wait. Personally,
you're a giver, aren't you, Aidan?
I'm a giver, not a taker. Take that how you want,
mate. and Jacko, obviously, with the new EP on the way, will kind of like the tour feel like a new chapter for the Crooks?
Yeah. So the tour we've got booked, they're quite intimate venues, to be honest. I think it'll be like an incredible atmosphere. I can't imagine tickets lasting very long, to be honest. Some of the venues are only like 170, 180 cap. But yeah, basically we're sort of considering it the Hypercell tour. Going to have a couple of themed things on the night. We'll probably have a new banner and a new drum skin and all those sorts of things. We'll make sure to play all of the tracks that are on Hypercell as well. So yeah, it's very much the case that those that have seen us before that might be on the fence about coming again because they've already seen that music, plenty of new stuff to come and grab your ears on. So get them tickets soon.
Definitely, and just kind of actually leads us very nicely on to the next question, actually. But maybe for someone who hasn't seen the Crooks live before, why should they come and see you live?
Similar to what I've just described the EP as, it's a journey. We're not like we're not the indie band that plays to the same tempo all the way through. We also aren't Elton John that just sits on piano all night. You get a bit of everything, and it's like-minded people in the crowd. Every gig that we do that's an headline show, by the end of the night, everyone's arm in arm singing along, and it's an incredible experience for 14, 15 quid to be able to come and see what is realistically going to be 3 bands, one of which being us for over an hour. I mean, what were Oasis tickets last year? Like 200 quid or whatever. Why not go and not just for us, why not go and see 10 different up and coming bands for that money rather than spending all that money on one show?
Yeah, no, well, I consider myself a little bit as a new music champion, so I totally agree with you there on the on the cost of the tickets. To come and see new bands and emerging artists and obviously grassroots music venues as well. But I must confess, I was one of those ones that did spend ridiculous money on Oasis tickets last summer.
Listen, if I could have, I would have.
And talking of them, did you catch the trailer yesterday for the tour documentary they've got coming out? And if you did, what did you think of it?
I've not seen the trailer yet. I saw the post teasing the trailer. I mean, I presumed that something was going to be coming out because of when they were doing the tour, there were cameras following them everywhere. So I'd be excited to watch it, sure, like anyone else. I mean, if you're British and you're not an Oasis fan, then you're not British, are you? So it's one of them.
Definitely, absolutely. And how about you, Aiden? Have you caught it or not seen it yet?
I didn't catch it yet, but yeah, I'll check it out after this. Definitely excited to hear about that. Is it going to be filmed? Like, what's it playing on?
I think initially it's going to be, I think it said yesterday, cinema and IMAX, but it's been recorded in Disney, so I assume at some point that Disney are going to have it on their services, and if Disney are happening to be listening to this and they want to sponsor the channel, then then please drop me an email.
Got to be IMAX, surely, for the sound you just get an IMAX. I bet that would be incredible.
Yeah, definitely. So, Aiden and Jacko on every This Is The Music Meets podcast, I kind of like finish with a quick fire sort of round. So just to ease us in, just to get an idea of how he's going to look. The first question is tea or coffee? What's your go-to?
Tea.
Coffee.
Tea. Yorkshire tea?
Yorkshire tea. I'm a proud Derbyshire man, but Yorkshire tea.
All day. Aiden, what are you? You black, white?
Yeah, not too fussy. I go black, white. It depends how I'm feeling. I like a nice coffee in this weather.
And what's been the favourite venue that you've played at across your sort of live career so far?
It was a privilege to play Why Not. We played the Quarry stage at Why Not, which was like 5,000 capacity tent, which was a massive privilege. But the best night I've ever had headlining one of the Crooks gigs was either Water Rats in London or the Lead Mill in Sheffield. Both of those gigs are just unreal.
Yeah.
For me, it might have been 229 the last time we played. I know for me that was like, God, how many gigs I had with you then, Jack?
Half a dozen.
Could have been a handful, 6, something like that. But then I was just like in my element and just grooving along in the bass, and I was like, oh, this is it. You see all the people as well. There's people at the front like interacting with you, and I just felt like that was like my high note.
Yeah, sure. I can imagine. I was at the Water Rats gig that you just mentioned there, and it was a very special night, I have to say. Unfortunately, I didn't attend the 229 club in January. But yeah, I was due to come, but yeah, something cropped up. But anyway, for both of you, an album that you've had on repeat recently.
I mentioned it already. In terms of music that's come out in the last few years, the main band that I listen to a lot is the Bracknell. I think they've just got it right. I think with the mixers and the big choruses and the big wall of sound guitars, and I mean, I suppose especially this stuff that we're bringing out now, it's quite similar to sort of stuff we do, so it makes sense that I'd like it.
Yeah,
I'm looking what's in my rotation on Spotify. It's just an absolute mess at the moment. I can't say there's one album. I've been listening to a lot of dance music lately. Don't know why. I think it's something to do with the weather.
Maybe there's going to be a techno song coming sooner than what we realised.
Yeah.
And this is probably a little bit of a difficult one, to be fair, but can you, both of you, remember maybe the first album that you bought, or maybe even a single, if that makes it a bit easier?
I remember. So I bought two at the same time. I bought Linkin Park Encore, I think the album was,
Hmm.
and Kasabian with Clubfoot on it and all those tunes. It were like FIFA music. I must have been 10 or something, first time I bought my own. So yeah.
Oh, you're gonna love this. I think I'll say the earliest CD that I can remember listening to as a child was Eminem. I think it was Curtain Call.
Yeah.
Or the 50 Cent album with the red cover on the radio.
Yeah, I must confess, I owned both of them as well. Yeah, great. Felt great at the time anyway. Obviously, I know we've spoken a little bit about live music, and obviously anyone that has seen you play live, it is all original music. But if you had to play a set on some song from this upcoming tour, and you had to include a cover song, what would you go for?
We've done a cover once before, and it was at we did a gig at Chesterfield Football Club at the
Mhm.
ground. Some of us in the band are big Town fans, and our anthem is "Sailing" by Rod Stewart. So we've actually done that cover, and I think we did it justice. I'd do that every time if it were up to us. I'm trying to think of something a bit out of the box. I feel like covers are always good when you do something that's not to be expected. You know, if we brought out a Sugar Babes song or something like that and made it his own, I think that's the way forward.
How about you, Aidan? Would there be anything that you'd want to change, maybe include as something different?
I'm going to be selfish and think about the bass line. Get some Stone Roses on, right?
I can get behind that, to be fair.
Yeah.
And who is the dressing room joker within the Crooks?
Certainly not me. Pre-gig,
Yeah.
I'm zen. I like to like have an hour where I like just sit and do nothing before I get on stage. I'd say Modders.
Yeah,
Lead
I'd put Modders
guitarist
up there.
Modders is the most hyperactive bloke going when it's pre-gig.
But I agree.
And is there anything that you can share that he gets up to that's not going to drop a minute with anybody?
Not necessarily. It's just he cranks the music up and he's having a dance about, getting in people's faces. Like different people prepare for things in a different way. I'm a bit more I'm like that in day to day, really. But when it comes to performing, the nerves set in and whatever, and he deals with the nerves by just getting hyper and being all, silly goose. Whereas I'm a bit more, I just suck it all in for an hour and then I explode on stage, sort of thing. So.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Being in the studio or being up on stage, what's your preferred? What do you prefer?
That's a difficult one. I've
Yeah.
got to sit on the fence. I like them both for very different reasons.
Gut feeling on stage. It's just that feeling again. Adrenaline. I must be an adrenaline junkie.
And finally, I'll come to you, Jacko, on this one. The 2026 is clearly shaping up to be a brilliant year, and it already has been fantastic so far. How excited are you personally, for what's coming up next? And, why should people come and check you out for the first time?
Yeah, I mean, like I say, we've had a bit of a hiatus and things have been moving slowly, from the fans' perspective this last couple of years. But behind the scenes, we've been working hard. We've got this music coming out now finally, and you never know what's around the corner after that. We've got things lined up so that we'll be at it now. And yeah, like you've been to the show yourself before. It's an experience, especially at that ticket price. It's well worth coming. Hear the great songs and what we're proud of, but just have a great night with like-minded people.
Brilliant. Look, great stuff. I have to confess, I cannot wait for the EP to land when it does on Thursday. Well, sorry, not Thursday. The new single landed on Thursday, and then obviously then the EP coming out in a couple of weeks' time after that, and obviously the tour as well is going to be absolutely fantastic. I'm sure of it. But look, Aiden and Jacko, that is the end of episode 179 of the This Is the Music Meets podcast. Thank you both so much for coming on and giving up your afternoon on a Sunday and sort of telling us the great story about the EP and obviously the recording and obviously the new single as well. But just before I let you go, could you let the This Is the Music listeners know the social media platforms that they can find the Crooks on?
Yeah, so we're at the Crooks UK on all platforms.
Brilliant, great stuff. Look, those links for the social media will be in the episode bio, along as well with the ticket links for the tour and all of the information as well about the EP as well. Jack and Aiden, thanks very much for coming on, and look forward to catching up with you in London on the upcoming tour.
Likewise, mate. I'm looking forward to it.
Looking forward to it. Thank you again.
Thank you for tuning in to episode 179 of the This Is the Music Meets podcast with this week's guest, the Crooks. If you're new around here, please hit that like button, subscribe and leave a comment, as it really will help the podcast grow, but more importantly, will help the bands and artists that I interview to be discovered. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you very, very soon for another This Is the Music Meets podcast. And remember, the future is bright. The future is indie.